Government accounts for 2015 officially closed. Cabinet approved rollout of housing project. And murdered youth's university offer after his death.
This is National EMTV News with Lorraine Genia.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. This is Tuesday's news. Government accounts for 2015 have officially closed. Finance Minister James Marape announced this today at Vulupindi House, Waigani. The close of accounts ends what the minister describes as a tough fiscal year. Sarah Alpong reports.
Our close of account will be the shortest in our nation's history.
Minister Marape said the accounts officially closed yesterday at 4:06 p.m. The accounts will open again in January 4, 2016. Based on past experiences where there has been a mad rush during the close of accounts, Minister Marape had this warning for public servants.
Okay, please don't spend after today. You spend at your own peril.
The Finance Secretary said the department has also implemented reforms in their financial management system to cope with the tight fiscal situation the country is in.
Usually there's given the longer closing period, there is floating checks that just float around the system. We want to cut that out. So close of account is shorter. We've configured integrated financial management system to zero out all uncommitted funds in the system.
Marape was optimistic that the government has delivered key projects despite the drastic cut in the country's revenue due to the drop in oil and mineral prices.
We satisfactorily delivered on our free tuition fee program this year. We've satisfactorily delivered on most of our high-impact projects we focused this year. We satisfactorily delivered on our special support grants this year.
While all other government accounts will close, DSIP and PSIP accounts will remain open.
DSIP, we have 80% of delivery already, 20% is still outstanding. We hope to do that in the close of this year. We have PSIP is the only issue we have delivered this year, 191.65 million so far. We have outstanding of 253.35 million kina.
With regards to the continued drought situation in the country, Secretary Nangan said if there are any urgent drought or disaster matters that arise during the close of accounts, the DSIP and PSIP can be used upon instructions from the minister and his office. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Cabinet has approved the implementation of the government's 40,000 social housing rollout program undertaken by the National Housing Corporation. A memorandum of understanding signed today between NHC and state-owned entities will ensure utility infrastructure is in place. NHC and its development partners will commence the rollout program starting in Port Moresby's Durham Farm, Gerahu 7A and the National Research Institute.
In a media conference today, Minister for Housing Paul Ezekiel announced Cabinet's approval of the government's 40,000 social housing program. Most heads of SOEs were present, together with contractors and the Ministers for Lands and Physical Planning, Benny Allen, and the Minister for Public Enterprise and State Investments, Ben Micah. Mr. Ezekiel said Cabinet endorsed tax breaks and waiver of port storage and handling fees for housing materials for the project. This is to ensure that the end user can buy a house or land at the affordable price of between 250,000 kina to 450,000 kina package threshold.
One of the things that we found in the past that money seems to be a problem when it comes to buying houses. So you look at, you measure the kind of money, wage bracket that an ordinary Papua New Guinea have against the house that you build. It's no point of building a 700 to 800 houses and trying to sell to an ordinary Papua New Guinea.
Minister Micah acknowledged that thousands of public servants are being forced to live in substandard living conditions in settlements.
Even my SOE staff are living in the settlement. They're living on land that belongs to somebody, and they call them squatters. They wear a necktie and wear a nice suit and drive a car to work, but they are squatters. Expensive squatters, meaning that they are living on somebody else's land without any right, any title to it. This is the thing that will give them dignity and pride and right of ownership.
Minister Allen said a considerable number of houses will be built by the time the program is rolled out at Duran Farm, NRI, and Gerehu.
Duran Farm is 5,000, Gerehu 3B is 3,000, NRI, I'm not sure how many houses we will deliver, but by the end of these two projects, when we complete these two projects, we're looking at close to 10,000 houses. 10,000 houses.
The engineering designs are now 70% complete, and a memorandum of understanding signed today between National Housing Corporation and state-owned entities will see that utilities like water and electricity are provided before titles are given. Over 5,000 applicants have submitted interest to purchase homes under the build, sell and share concept at the back of the public-private partnership arrangement. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Leading oil exploration company Oil Search Limited and PNG Power today signed 2 power purchase agreements as part of a long-term strategy to develop solutions in the electricity sector. Part of the agreement includes the Ramu Power Project, which will provide up to 100 megawatts of additional electricity by 2030. Quinten Alomp reports.
With the government's position to reduce carbon emissions and focus on providing clean, sustainable power generating options, PNG Power and Oil Sets have gone into a public-private arrangement to improve electricity by 2030. Under the long-term strategy plan, Oil Sets will develop 2 power purchase agreements called the Biomass Power and Islands Power as an independent power producer, or IPP, with the Biomass IPP, in which Oil Sets will produce 70% and Aligned Energy 30%. Both companies will use wood chips from trees grown in the Makam Valley to produce cheap, reliable baseline biomass power for the Leh and Makam areas. The project will supply 30 megawatts of biomass power to the Ramu grid and will create over 500 permanent jobs in the area. In the Highlands Power Project, Oil Sets will develop 2 megawatts of gas-fired pilot power project near Hides in Hela province. The project is expected to produce up to 65 megawatts by 2030.
It's really in line with the government's medium-term strategy, to bring electricity to 75% of our population.
More than 1 million people in the Highlands, especially Tari and Makam in Morobe, will benefit from the project. Oil Sets Managing Director Peter Botten says with the recently concluded Paris Climate Change Summit, it's the start of a long way to implement renewable energy for electricity in the country.
And the necessity to connect the Hela people to power. That goes on to education opportunities and a whole range of opportunities, economic opportunities in Hela province. So we think biomass is a different project. It's a significant project in Morobe province.
In Port Moresby, a company called Landfill Energies also signed the agreements today to start using waste disposal at Baroni Dump to produce 2 megawatts of electricity for the city.
Also very thrilled to see what's happening in Paris, and we can make a little contribution with what we're doing.
Quinten Alom, National EMTV News.
Tonight on EMTV News Special Report, we look at the increase in the number of car thefts in Port Moresby and the reasons why it occurs. Car theft or stealing of vehicles has become a commonly reported crime in the nation's capital since June this year. Police reports state that an estimated 2 vehicles are stolen every day. Some of the stolen vehicles are recovered by police, but many aren't. Our journalist Tekla Gunga interviewed the NCD and Central Divisional Commander Sylvester Kalaut on the increase in car thefts and files tonight's special reports.
The increase in car theft reported to the 8 police stations in Port Moresby has risen over the past 6 months. Historically, it has become unusually high to have such constant statistics for a particular crime.
Car theft is one of the major criminal activities that's happening in Port Moresby. On record, as per the police records that we have from Broco, it is about 1 to 2 motor vehicles are stolen each day. That's on average, but I could say it's 2 motor vehicles per day. So you times that in a month, we roughly end up with about record of 45 motor vehicles being stolen in the National Capital District.
The motive to steal a car has also changed over the years. Investigations conducted by police reveal that criminals no longer steal vehicles to use as getaway car, especially in an armed robbery, but steal vehicles, remove parts and resell them for a lower price. They target fast-moving vehicles and those that are common in the city.
Well, we look at the crime of stolen motor vehicles. Sometimes people steal, or the criminals, they steal motor vehicles just because there is an opportunity for them to steal, or there are buyers on the other side who paid the criminals to steal a motor vehicle, and in that particular case, criminals target the type and make and model of a vehicle for them to steal, because the buyer is requesting for that type, make and model of that vehicle to be stolen so that he can remove parts from the vehicles, or he can purchase the vehicles from the criminals.
Police have an 80 to 90% chance of recovering stolen vehicles, but some vehicles remain missing for a longer period. And the question on everyone's mind is, where do these vehicles end up? While police are still acting on evidence, they believe there are Papua New Guineans who hire criminals to steal vehicles and resell them in other provinces under new vehicle registrations. In an interview with the National Road Safety Council, Nelson Terama, the executive director, said a number of stolen vehicles were retrieved during road checks this year.
So when the criminals steal a vehicle from a particular point A, and in order to go to point B, then they make sure that the road is cleared, and but when we put up our random road checks in the city, sometimes the criminals, they think twice whether they're going to go that way or not, because they're going to slow down and the police are going to catch them easily. So criminals, they're fully aware of our road, where we're going to, that's why we normally do random checks so that nobody knows where we are going to set up our road checks. So we do our road checks from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock every day from Monday to Friday. So that is a continuous enforcement operations that we've been doing.
Commander Kalaud said while police cannot fully guarantee the recovering of stolen vehicles, car owners are advised to take precautions when traveling home from work or moving around in the city.
Care and vigilance is the most priority aspect of us, taking precaution. And, when you drive to your residence, from your office to your residence, if you see suspecting, people or criminals or people that you don't see on the streets, you don't drive into your gates. Drive to the police station and advise the police so they can come and check the street before you get in, or you drive up to another place.
Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Among stories after the break, the father of the young man shot by police speaks of the family's grief. Welcome back to the news. The father of the 19-year-old grade 12 student shot by police in Leh last week has spoken out for the first time since his son's death, expressing how the loss has affected his whole family. Rodney Yama travelled to Leh from Kagua over the weekend to see where his son had been shot as he and his family come to terms with the death a week ago. Adding to his grief, earlier today he told EMTV he had received a call from the University of Gorkha letting him know that his son had been offered a place in the university's Bachelor of Science program.
This is the first time Rodney Yama has been to Lae since his son's death. He's a businessman from Kagwa. His son Thomas was accidentally shot by police last week. The shooting prompted a near confrontation between relatives and police in the center of Lae. Today, Rodney told MTV he wanted his son's name cleared.
Na boy lugar tem nisla boy logan atu mi kholi me em to hem stabiet then em confirm ken now okay by 1 o'clock bla find out some true em Thomas.
Thomas Yama, 19, from Kagwa, was a grade 12 student who came to Lae to see if there was a possibility of enrolling at the Balub Teachers College if he didn't get a placing at the University of Goroka. Days after the shooting, Rodney attended his son's graduation in Kagwa. Thomas's mates, all dressed up, put mud on their faces in grief. Rodney then came to Lae armed with his son's certificate and his leadership award, still wrapped in gift paper with his name on it. His award, a small Bible, now a treasured memory for his father.
Mi sevim blolosem 3,000 kinalo popla beginning. So then this la popla beginning mi tok several. Once you like mekas, em is la 3,000 kinal left logan. Em blow you bla. Em receive money bla. Em straight you bla to wagim. So soap now something. Okay, antablisla extra blomiet mbaki.
For now, how his son was shot and who was responsible are secondary and will be pursued through legal means.
But the message that Rodney wants to convey to the public is that his son wasn't the criminal as initially thought. He was a student preacher, a prefect, and would have graduated in 4 years as a science teacher. Now, earlier today, Rodney said his son had actually received a letter of offer from the University of Goroka to be enrolled as part of the Bachelor of Science program. Scott Wide, National MTV News, Lae.
While hundreds of teachers are still awaiting leave entitlements in Lae, Morobe's acting PEA Barry Carlos said funds have been paid to 2 travel agents. The teachers' entitlements have been paid to 2 travel agents, Prime Travel Service and PNG Travel Service. He said over 4.5 million kina has been spent to cover for travel costs on air, sea and by road.
For the past 2 days, teachers in Morobe had been queuing in front of the Provincial Education Office, frustrated over the long process to get confirmation letters that will enable them to get their leave entitlements.
It's just that it's frustration.
The long queues had been the result of entitlement payments not being paid directly to teachers' accounts. According to the Provincial Education Division, leave entitlement policy directs provincial education offices to pay teachers' leave fares to travel service providers where teachers collect their travel tickets.
But our job we have already completed, calculating all the leave fares for the teachers who are eligible, and we have approved through our screening committee, and these teachers, they can be eligible to obtain their leave fares too.
Morobe's acting provincial education advisor Barry Carlo explained that PNG Travel Service will cover for Highlands and Southern region areas and Prime Travel Service to cover for the New Guinea Islands and Momasa region. Over 500 Morobe teachers were paid their travel costs to travel agents after consultations made by the Education Division.
We were made aware that we'll be collecting our tickets from travel agents this year. So the teachers are getting the identification letter to go out and then fill out the deposit slips.
According to Morobe's acting PA, Mr. Barry Carlo, education officers were given verbal notice from the Teachers Service Commission to pay teachers directly this year. However, the 2015 payments had been made prior to the notice given. Now it's now nearing the end of the year and more than 500 teachers in Morobe are still awaiting their leave entitlements. Colin Barilai, National MTV News, Lae.
The PNG Teachers Association has claimed that provincial education divisions using travel agents to issue teachers' leave fares is illegal. General Secretary Ugwalubu Moana has condemned these actions by officers and says this practice must stop. Fabian Hakelitz with this report.
Mr. Moana was responding to questions raised by MTV News if it is lawful for travel agents to issue tickets as part of teachers' leave entitlements. MTV understands that by law, travel agents must not issue tickets.
Under Teaching Service Act, the teacher slip fare is supposed to be issued through a airline warrant. But recently, education divisions are paying the monies to the travel agents who are not PNG Air or Mangilo Place or Air New Guinea.
There are some instances some travel agents issue tickets on special fares and makes teachers traveling difficult. And this is not permitted in the airline warrant.
Yes, PNGTA agree with that. Pay our teachers in cash. After you receive all their details, pay them in cash. So if a teacher is from Buka and he wants to go to Australia and have a holiday, that is right to choose where he goes.
Mr. Moana said the national government needs to revise these laws to also cater for all other travel means.
It's out of date. Find a way to cushion that law and then save. Human service is very important than to the law. The law is there for the human beings, but unfortunately, the laws are already out of date.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.3350 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3275 $0.4486 Australian dollars, $0.2944 euro, and 39.29 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, cocoa and copra closed higher, while gold and coffee closed the day lower. Palm oil closed lower, while crude oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 103 points higher, the ASX closed at 97 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 101 points lower. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Vendors at Manu Auto Port Market in Port Moresby disagree with the National Capital District Commission to remove the market. They claim that the market is the safest in the city and attracts more customers than any other. However, nearby residents are concerned of their safety and properties.
The market serves the nearby suburbs of Manu, including the rest of the city. Most of the vendors who sell here come as far away as Rigo and Kwikila in the central province. Mothers especially say they normally leave their village at 1 o'clock in the morning and travel to the city to sell the produce. They camp with the unsold goods at Manu market for days until they are all sold. Vendors say that they can't go to other markets in the city and preferred Manu of its safe environment.
Gardens koki sampla hab mi plus go. Plantil still lines to stop na. After market sampla time most arouse market market money blow mi pla. Osen mi pla looking mosem this la market em good pla market when mi plus the come market na go back.
Meanwhile, NCDC City Manager Leslie Alu clarified yesterday that the Commission has no plans to re-establish the market. The market was originally set up as an informal market to complement the Malaro TST supermarket, which was destroyed by fire last month. However, some vendors claimed that they survive on profits from this market. Nearby residents say the market is not safe. They say that their area is becoming a refugee camp for mothers and children when there's an ethnic clash in the city, and is also seen as public property to the vendors and they can do anything. But here is the story of a happy market customer.
Plantitan, mi sekoran loya, mi buy more all samla something blow me logo morning afternoon samla time mi go back, mi go come free loya. So everyone me looking one blood peaceful market.
Once NCDC market division is ready, Manu market will be removed. The city authorities say the market is illegal and should not be called a formal market as it does not have the right facilities. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
It's been 5 years now since the collapse of the Golubu Bridge in Rigo Central Province. Locals have had to swim across the Camp Welsh River just to get home. They are now calling on their leaders to repair the bridge or build a new one. Willie Lovai with this report.
Golubu village is located in the Rigo district of Central Province and has a population of more than 1,000 people. Golubu sits opposite the Campbell's River and is in need of a new bridge for the locals to cross over. Since the collapse of the Golubu Bridge in 2010, the only way to get to the village is by dinghy. However, the village has only one dinghy to help with crossing, and the locals usually have to swim across the Campbell's River just to get home.
Me like him, this is a bridge must walk Arab. Also, na all legally to school on Narpala side, na 8 post on Narpala side, place on Narpala side.
He said that without a bridge, what used to be normal village activities are now difficult as there is much restriction on movement in and out of the village.
This is the lifeline of the community, and the most important people are the children, school children. And when we see school children swimming across the river every morning and every afternoon, it doesn't good. Even when it's time for flood, they swim.
Mr. Killer said the bridge was the lifeline of the village until it collapsed, and since then it is difficult just to get home. Willie Lovai, National EMTV News.
Ayom High School in the Middle Ramu district of Madang Province, the school that was torched by students earlier this year, is not likely to be opened again after what has happened. This was highlighted by the Middle Ramu MP and Minister for Agriculture, Tommy Tomskol, on his visit to Asa Primary School last weekend.
The Middle Ramu MP, Tommy Tomskol, when attending the graduation of the Asai Primary School, was asked by the people where their students would go without a high school in the area.
Mima Stockholm, Minogat answer, lo give him lo you. Lo start him education. One plus school na one plus institution. Emi no sa start overnight. Emi sa take him long plus time. So suppose you think, also, me can cook him classroom today. Now tomorrow we'll by build him new plus school. Am you wrong?
The MP detailed the hardships of building a school and stated that those who are irresponsible shouldn't be entertained.
Big problem. Belong Ayom High School. One, attitude. Passing belong all Piginini. Piginini ino kam lo school. Piginini ikam lo Ayom. Passing belong boyfriend, girlfriend, na married. Big pla tumasin sa lo plus school. Now this is a problem. Emi lead him, he go. Long all student, long cook him all school.
He went on to mention that he's looking at having the school replaced by another one, but it must be run by the Seventh-day Adventist Church under the leadership of John Asai, the founder of the Asai Primary School.
He got Nubla High School. And me propose him. All man, all survey man, all engineers, all working scoping pennies. And this plan, all by call him Coven High School. And by cost him, me plan 9.9 million. Because me can believe this plan church, and by got good plan influence, long life, long all young plan. Now all young plan, long behind time, by come up, strong plan, good plan, leader man, you know, block community, that's all block country too.
The minister made a strong point to the people and advised them to hold on to the churches, the Seventh-day Adventist Church in this case, in order to produce leaders with better quality skills in the future. Rachel Shise, National EMTV News, Madang.
A former employee of the Royal Papua Yacht Club has called on the club management to protect the interests of the local staff employed by the club. Her comments come after she was unfairly terminated by the former acting general manager, Donna Amory, in August this year. She says due process was not followed to terminate her from work. Mickey Cavera reports.
Donna Amory is an ex-cop who has left a string of allegations in Australia. She first appeared on Channel 9, a current affairs program 3 years ago.
Can you explain to us why you haven't paid the rent?
I wish we had known what sort of people they were.
Currently residing in PNG, Donna had a stint with the Royal Papua Yacht Club in Port Moresby as the acting general manager. EMTV understands she is no longer employed by RPYC after her story went viral on social media sites in PNG. But during her time at the yacht club, many local staff have fallen victims to her ways. Fiona Hariko is a former RPYC staff who claims to be unfairly terminated while working under Donna Amory.
1 week we went in, she forced us to sign the second termination form, which the official one, which we did not. I had a copy with me, and which we didn't sign. They forced, then put it in an envelope and hand it to 3 of us. And I asked her, we're 6 of us in the same boat, why 3 of us terminated and 1 was given a 1 week suspension and signed the warning letter, and 1 was signed the one, were told to work straight away, and after some days signed the warning letter without any 1 week suspension. So this, which she didn't answer my question. She just told me that, oh, 3 of your case is different from the other 2. I said, no, we're all in the same boat.
She was among 5 other staff terminated. However, 2 were told to return to work while she wasn't. Anne Gilmore was an ex-committee at RPYC who had a run-in with Donna on several occasions on the plight of the local staff.
As you probably have heard, it's known as the last bastion of colonialism. But I think a lot of people, the other clubs are laughing that they kept Donna on after the big TV scandal in Australia about her.
Speaking from Australia, she feels RPYC management should seriously look into the plight of its local staff. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Commodore of the Royal Papua Yacht Club has refused to comment on the employment of both Fiona Hereko and Donna Amory. However, he confirmed the termination of Mrs. Amory's contract following a separate investigation into her employment. Areas of central Philippines blacked out today as Typhoon Mela hit the nation of around 100 million, forcing around 800,000 people to evacuate. Typhoon Melo had initial wind speeds of up to 140 kilometers per hour. The speeds weakened to around 40 kilometers per hour early this morning as the typhoon approached the Philippines' northeast island of Romblon. Although Melo will continue to weaken, damaging winds with speeds of over 130 kilometers per hour are expected to hit south of the country's largest and most populated island of Luzon, as well as Mindoro. Although 3 unconfirmed deaths have been reported, disaster officials said there are no typhoon-related casualties. Dozens of domestic flights have been cancelled, with schools and many offices shutting down. The Philippines experience an average of 20 typhoons every year and plans to build a strong disaster relief system. Trukai Sports is up next. PNG beats Singapore in netball, NSL, Rugby Union and Rugby League. All those stories when we come back.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports now in netball. After defeating hosts Singapore 44-43 in the Nations Cup netball tournament, the PNG Peppers have gone on to defeating Chinese Taipei 60-39 last night. While Singapore, as the reigning Asian champions, never took lead throughout the entire 4 quarters, Their coach, Ruth Aitken, has admitted to the team's rusty form. Meanwhile, for the Pacific MMI Peppers, goal shooter Tiata Baldwin has been in incredible form, with captain Lua Rickis also instrumental in the forecourt and Susan Wellington defending well against Singapore. The tournament continues with PNG against Botswana later this evening. To football now, and FC Port Moresby is back to the drawing board after a devastating loss to leaders Hekari in the Telecom National Soccer League. Having missed numerous chances against the Southern Conference leaders, FC POM has shown it has the potential to win matches. Jeremy Moggy reports.
Tactically, FC Port Moresby had been able to hold off Hekari for much of the round 4 match. A positive sign, considering that Hekari has scored in the first half of all their games played so far this season. And while Hekari did outclass them towards the end with a 3-0 scoreline, the numerous opportunities that FC Port Moresby were able to create for themselves against the top club showed that they have the ability to score, nerves aside.
But that's what got us in the end. We didn't take our opportunities. And I thought it was a good even game. I think a good contest for everyone, the spectators to watch. Very entertaining game, very tactical game. In the end, the goals made the difference. They took theirs and we didn't take ours.
Missing the services of both Richard Sios and Nathaniel Lepani proved to be difficult for this side, which is used to winning. However, FC Port Moresby do have enough talent to get them through. Nathan Stephen proved difficult to handle on occasion, taking on Hekari's experienced defense, and so too Neil Hans. And only a positive outcome remains for this club, still looking for back-to-back wins.
Just the pleasing thing was that tactically the boys followed instructions. And I think when you play good teams, you have to be tactically disciplined in the game. And because that's the difference. I think Hekari are tactically a very organised team, and to play the best teams, whether it be here or at the Oceania level, tactically you have to be smart.
FC Port Moresby, like all other clubs in the Southern Conference, are either looking at a top in the pool or else hitting that valuable runners-up position, which is a more likely prospect considering that Hekari United are 6 points ahead of second place Erema Gulf FC, who themselves meet FC Port Moresby at the weekend. Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV Sports.
This time of the year marks an end to the sporting calendar, a time when associations reflect on the year that has been through the successes, administration downfalls and lessons learned. For rugby union in Papua New Guinea, it's been a festive year replicating 4 seasons, which included the qualification of the PNG Pukpuks into the HSBC World Series circuit, the reclaiming of the Oceania Rugby Cup and the rise in women's rugby in the outer centres of the country. The rugby calendar for 2015 kicked off with a guaranteed entrance into the 2015 HSBC World Series circuit after an absence of close to a decade.
The opening chance here for Papua New Guinea, and away goes Butler Morris.
While the PNG Pukpuks returned without fancy glassware, they proved to be the best team in recent years, topping their pool, going undefeated in all matches for a semi-finals appearance in Hong Kong. A shaky and worn-out performance in the 2015 Pacific Games, but better results 2 months later in front of a home crowd at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium in Port Moresby. The PNG Pukpuks team put on a stellar performance against 3 of the Pacific Warriors, Solomon Islands, Samoa and American Samoa. Not only did they reclaim the Oceania Rugby Cup, but put on display a new playing group with a blend of talents from all 4 regions, as well as Australia. But while the men's team proved to be the better side in recent years, 2015 also highlighted the need for further development of women's rugby, which would in turn cater for a wider player base to the PNG Palais. A downfall in results in the 2015 Oceania Rugby Sevens Championships showed the Palais needed more than experience to cross the line. Although East New Britain and now the autonomous region of Bougainville have created an avenue to develop women's rugby through competitions and provincial tournaments, serious consideration must be given to the development aspect of the game. Nonetheless, 2015 has truly been the year of ups and downs for the PNG Rugby Football Union, and with the new year emerging, a bigger, better year of rugby is expected with the introduction of new competitions and funding in 2016. With the ever-increasing influence of PNG students in the Philippines, the game of rugby league is flourishing. The Philippines National Rugby League is about to end this season with two teams in the finals, Albay Vulcans and Manila Storm. Manila Storm is coached by PNG's Timothy Buipe, a student and also the Rugby League Development Officer.
The Manila Storms had an 18-man squad, but through good use of their bench, they managed to hold off determined Albay Vulcans' attack on their home soil. For their first game of rugby league, which they have been waiting to play for almost 2 years. The Albay Vulcans team had well-planned and organized set pieces coming from their rugby union background. The home crowd appreciated their players' effort, win or lose. Timothy Bupe's Manila Storms were too good for the home side, with better movement of ball in attacking and crucially less ball dropped. The game concluded with Manila Storms winning 36 points to 14. With Papua New Guinea the only country in the world where rugby league is the national sport, PNG players are introducing the love of rugby league to their Filipino counterparts. Mike Koime, National EMTV Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues with more sporting updates. That's after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Now, Sports Minister Justin Chichenko, along with dignitaries from various departments today, toured the National Football Stadium, formerly known as PRL. The minister was pleased with the construction phase, saying they will prove the critics wrong once again upon completion. The venue is due to complete in February 2016. Shane Soroya has this report.
The National Football Stadium, once completed, will have 15,000 seating capacity and will be the main venue to host both national and international rugby league matches.
The work has gone on absolutely fantastic. I couldn't falter the amount of work that's been done over the last 3 or 4 months than last time I was here. It's a credit to everybody involved, and we look forward to the end result of having a fantastic world-class National Football Stadium for Rugby League right in the heart of Port Moresby City.
The venue is completely different from the Pacific Games infrastructure and development. National Football Stadium was built as a commitment to rugby league in the country.
We have one of the best rugby league facilities that is internationally certified in the region. And when it's up and running, it'll be available to all the public to come and be spectators and watch the games play, especially local league.
Also, the minister settled speculations on the parking lots at the National Football Stadium that has come under heavy scrutiny by the public at large.
Football stadium is at the back. You've got free access through the front entrance in an organised manner with plenty of space for people to congregate and to come into the stadium, so there's no crowd build-up. You've got access to the new car parks in Bassini Parade as well, with the redefined netball court, which allows people to park there and come to these games as well that are hosted here. So when it comes to car park space and getting people in and out, it's been professionally done, and there's also been studies done to ensure the movement and flow of people. It's not just building a stadium.
The National Football Stadium will be one of the main stadiums in Port Moresby to co-host the Rugby World Cup in 2017 along with Australia and New Zealand. Shane Soroya, National EMTV Sports.
Following a 4-week training camp, the PNG Hunters train-on squad will go on a 2-week break for the festive season. The team will have their final training session for the year this Saturday.
Following the release of 4 players from the PNG Hunters train-on squad last week, the Hunters program will go on a break for 2 weeks. From the 32-man squad, the final 28 will be selected when the boys return in January. The final squad will train for a month before the 2016 Intra Super Cup kicks off in March. Jaylee Sapies, National EMTV Sports.
Newly appointed Canberra Raiders recruitment manager Peter Mulholland says it is best to look outside the box when recruiting players. Mulholland, who noticed PNG Hunters outside back Kato Otio during the 2015 Queensland Cup season, said it isn't the best idea to recruit locally for a national competition and that he will be widening his net. We've got some wonderful outside backs coming through and every club is looking for prop forwards, Mulholland said. Mulholland is one of the most experienced recruiters in the NRL, having spent the past 20 years at several clubs, including the Penrith Panthers and Canterbury Bulldogs. And that ends Trukai Sports for tonight. Your weather details for the next 24 hours after this break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
And your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, cloudy periods with a chance of showers in Port Moresby and Kerema, fine in Daru and Alatau, and brief showers in Popondetta. In the Momase region, few showers for Lae, brief evening showers in Madang, showers in Wewak and Vanimo. And in the New Guinea Islands region, evening showers in all centres. And in the Highlands region, evening showers with possible thunderstorm, then morning fog in Mount Hagen, evening showers in Goroka and Kundiawa, and brief evening showers in Mendi and Wabag. Now recapping our top stories for tonight. Government accounts for 2015 officially closed. Cabinet approves rollout of housing project and murdered youth's university offer after his death. And that's the news we have for you tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Lorraine Genia. Pleasant viewing. Good night.